obviously you had a very, very different life growing up and stuff like that, I would assume. I think all of us kind of had different levels in life. But I thought this question was pretty interesting. What's something you had in life that you thought was normal? That when you went to your friend's house and you're like, oh, fuck, that's not what you do? You don't?
Uh, the example that I like to give is just asking your dad for an autograph. And so I thought that that's what you just did to every dad up until I was like 6.
That's
So
actually amazing.
there was a time, I remember the time where I actually like learned my lesson, where I was old enough to where they were like, okay, no. But yeah, I was like, hey, can I get your autograph to my friend's dad? And he was like, no. He was just got kind of awkward because he knew who my dad was. He's like, no, people just get your dad's autograph. And I just was like, why? Why do you get an
Steve, can I have
autograph in
your
the first
autograph,
place? I
please?
didn't know. I was just like, apparently you're just supposed to give a paper to your friend's dad.
Hmm.
And he's like, no, you're a lot of people like getting your dad's autograph because he's famous. And I didn't really even know what that meant because I was like 6. But I think I talked to my dad. I'm like, he didn't give me an autograph, and he was like, oh, okay. So that was one thing where I definitely was like, all right. I think that was when I learned kind of how famous my dad was because I just didn't know beforehand.
That's a really cool, unique like way that breaks down
Did,
though.
did
'Cause
that
that you
shock
wouldn't think
you?
that. You would think like
Yeah.
maybe money wise or maybe some other fame thing wise, but autographs. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it got old for sure having as I got older when more and more people found out wanting just to use me, which has obviously
Oh, that sucks.
continued to this day
It's
where people
stupid. Yeah.
are like, hey, they try and become my friend, whether it's at work or at school growing up. And you could just tell right away that it's like,
Yeah.
hey, can I come over? Is your dad going to be there? The amount of times I got
Fuck's your
that.
problem? Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, is your dad going to be at the house when I'm over there? Okay. I don't want you over anymore.
Hmm.
Nope.
And
Nope.
so I learned that. And then it got to a point where we switched schools when I went to 7th grade. And I didn't tell anybody until maybe towards the end of the year where someone found out. They're like, why didn't you tell me who your dad was? And I was like, how did you find out?
Why does it matter?
I can't remember. But then everybody found out. And fortunately, that was a school where I had already made friends and they were like, oh, that's cool. But they were just my friend anyway. And I think at that point, they knew that I just did not want any part of it.
I
I didn't want to be
remember.
used at all.
I remember in like third grade, I had this kid. His name was Joey, and he was like one of the coolest kids in school and everything else at this point. And the Hardy Boys became like the thing. This was
Yeah.
after like WCW kind of crashed and everything else. And he jumped on it and he's like, yeah, well, the Hardy Boys are my cousin. They're coming over next week, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, cool.
And for some reason, I don't even know where I got it from. It might have been a thrift store, not sure. Never watched hockey, but my mom came home with a New Jersey Devils jersey. And this was right after like Jericho started coming out and all the jerseys and everything else. I was like, yeah, well, I'm related to Chris Jericho. So, what are you talking about? And just like trying to overclaim and be, it's weird because like I would have absolutely fell for that as an idiot kid of like, oh, I just want to meet your dad. That sounds fucking cool. To being like, wow, that's really fucking douchey because I completely understand where that's a douchebag thing to do. But I was a fucking dumb kid. I was an absolutely
Yeah.
dumb kid.
Kids are different. I feel like they kind of have a pass because
Yeah.
it's like, oh my gosh, because that's the coolest thing that's ever happened in your life when you're
Yeah.
in 4th grade. Like your friend, I watch that guy every week. And as a kid, your brain hasn't developed enough to hold back on those comments.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you have like 50-year-old dudes on or women, whatever
Yeah.
on DMs going like, hey, can I meet your dad? Can you send your dad this picture of me?
I get I get
It's
that for my work too. It's,
yeah,
"Can you send
it's
this
rough.
message?" No. No, I won't. They literally have a place where you can pay them $10 to ask them a question. Go fucking ask it there. You're not gonna get it for free from me asking them. This is stupid.
Yeah. I think it's fine if they hey, I'm gonna take my one in a million shot. I'm gonna send a message. I'm
Exactly,
gonna
once.
see, whatever.
Hmm.
But it's bad when I've had people say like he didn't even respond to me or about any celebrity. Like
Yeah.
The Rock didn't respond to me, and I messaged him. I asked him a question. Like, he does not have time. I promise you. Like, he doesn't have
Who
time.
looks at
And
themselves
yeah,
like you have to answer it?
yeah. It can be
I only got
brutal
so many
sometimes.
hours in the day, and they're fucking bigger than I am. If you get an answer from me, that's great. I try and answer people all day, every day.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I had a really weird fucking upbringing, and
Yeah.
something that I thought was fucking normal was like the power getting shut off. I thought that was just normal. That like, oh, sometimes the internet doesn't work. Sometimes people power doesn't work. Shit just gets shut off every now and then, and that was really fucking weird to me when I grew up. And I'm like, oh, so you just make sure it's paid and it doesn't go like. I wasn't talked to about money a lot, so
Mm.
obviously I sound like a fucking dipshit. But as a whole, like it wasn't there. My mom didn't understand exactly how to make sure everything was taken care of. So it was weird because all of a sudden I'm like, oh, my power doesn't get shut off for years when you just paid the bill. It was a weird realization at fucking 20 years old. And I'm like, fuck, that's all I had to do. That's all that had to be done was not,
Just pay the power bill. Yeah.
wait 8 months and have a $5,000 power bill and you can't pay it.
I feel like I
Yeah.
had a thought that was like, oh yeah, that was different in my childhood growing up. It was like a couple months ago, but I didn't know that was gonna be a topic, so I completely forgot and I can't think about anything.
I had a really weird one that I watched somebody else do a couple times too. So I don't remember if I told this story yet or not. So I'm not going to go into the story part of it. But we had a landlord, and his kid and her kid was a fucking douchebag. He was probably like 100 pounds overweight, and one of the meanest kids I've ever met in my life. But wrestling was his favorite thing. But every time he went to the store, he threw a hissy fit, and his sister would get a full sized, the round cakes that are like 8 inches, 9 inches.
Uh-huh.
She got
Yep.
one of those for herself. She was like 450 pounds at like 13. And he threw a hissy fit about everything and got whatever he wanted. But when he would go home and he would shit, he was in the bathroom for an hour and a half. And you'd be like, okay, well, that's normal. I still do that. No, he would shit for about 5 minutes and then proceed to sit in the bathtub for another hour to make sure everything was out.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't understand. I don't even understand what the fuck he was doing in the bathtub. But he would take a bath after shitting, which to me just sounds like you're sitting in a shitty jacuzzi, but I'm really kind of confused. But yeah, I don't understand where he thought that was normal. That was one of the things that
Definitely
stuck
not
out to me as
normal.
a kid. No,
Yeah.
it's really not. Like a
Hey, you
shower,
wonder how
sure, I
often
get
something
it.
like that happens.
Making sure you're clean, but like, why are you gonna sit in the bathtub? It's kind of
Yeah.
weird.
Just making it disgusting. No, yeah, no thanks. I'm not about that.
Nah, it's insane. So I kind of weaved a question, and I don't want it to come off incorrect, but I apologize if
Okay.
it does. So, obviously, with trying to go into YouTube and streaming and stuff like that, and your dad is one of the probably greatest storytellers, especially without saying very much. Did that level of storytelling, obviously, because he probably helped create a lot of those characters and stuff like that, did that help you want to create content or like your drive to do something creative?
That is a really good question, actually. Wow. Maybe like without me even realizing it, that
Yeah.
could have been it. I don't think. I think just watching him over the years, I've adapted a lot of his personality traits, even
Mhm.
his storytelling style. Not wrestling storytelling, but just
Yeah.
talking in person. I feel kind of tell stories the same way, and that whole side of it, I like bringing something. I like getting excited about something and sharing that with other people.
Yeah.
And so I
Absolutely.
think that kind of led into the YouTube side where I had always, I would say for probably 10 years or so, I'd wanted to do YouTube. I just had no idea what I wanted to do, like I was saying earlier, where I'm just thinking it's too late. No one's ever going to watch my stuff. There's a million channels that could do what I do better, and I don't have anything interesting or valuable to add. But I'm really passionate about this, and I like sharing it with my friends. And then, yeah, eventually I just kind of bit the bullet. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to do this. Who cares if only 5 people watch? I'm still going to have fun doing it because I'm just excited about it. So,
No, and I had the same thought. Um, so I wanted to start a YouTube channel for like helping guys like 16 to 25 of like, life is shit. This is how to fucking handle it. This is what you need to do. You kind of just got to put your head together and kind of do it. And when I was that age at 15, I had fucking Woody's gamer tag. Now he's my boss, but like he was releasing Mail Monday videos about how weird erections are and, you know, put it in your waistband when you're trying to get up from school and shit. And it's like, okay, so that was my basis of how to do this and how to like weave something and try and help somebody with something or storytell. And it's really kind of weird just being like, yeah, well, that's what I wanted to do. And I guess in a way I'm still kind of doing that. But, you know, it's weird how you kind of pull in pieces of everything that's around you or the things that you create or even you consume, and those things become pieces of what you're going to put out there again. That's why I thought it was interesting, because you don't just have dad on TV or like anybody else creator wise. You're not just seeing this person sometimes or even just the best parts of them. You're going to get everything. You're going to get the rawness while you're sitting at the table scratching on a piece of paper trying to figure it out. You're going to get every little bit of it, of trying to kind of come up with those storytelling pieces and stuff like that. So I thought it was interesting because it would kind of be a little bit more introspective than just face value shit.
Yeah, definitely. Well, now, I mean, your question alone has me thinking more of like, wow,
Yeah.
I wonder, yeah, I bet his just his ability to tell stories probably has rubbed off on me, and that's just why I wanted to do it. You know?
Well,
Yeah,
you
that
had-
time I thought about that thing, or wow, that did kind of provoke something in my
Right.
childhood over time. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you